LEGO Star Wars game is flooded with tons and tons of insane details. And speaking about it, these have probably drove me insane because there's so many insane details and there's probably still a ton out there. And hey, these are all the insane details you need to know, such as disguises in levels, the brand new stud meter that actually grants you Kyber bricks, and much more. Right then, there's no need to beat around the bush. Cue the music. So, hello there guys, I'm RuggedEagle and I do tons of LEGO content on my channel alongside the Skywalker Saga too. So if you do go to enjoy, please feel free to subscribe, only if you do go to enjoy though, and a like would be greatly appreciated. And it would mean an absolute world to me if we hit 100,000 subscribers, cheeky wink. Anyway, let's get into all the 50 insane details I found in the new gameplay overview for LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. I may have made that sound a little bit too intense. Anyway, so then, for our first detail, each episode is actually broken up into 5 main levels. However, when you begin an episode, it actually doesn't start off with a main level. It actually begins with a hub level. Now, this is actually a very interesting choice by TT Games, and this is actually shown in the trailer. When they begin episode 7, you can actually see the mission begin area in the background, which is highlighted blue, and we do see this later on in the trailer when it's highlighted green once you've completed the level. So yeah, our beloved favourite level, negotiations, is actually a hub level. I mean, yeah, the negotiations were short. And talking about negotiations, the next little detail that you may have missed, in the actual negotiations level, you can actually see the door in the background that they cut through on the episode selection menu. Now, falling down into the good old Rancor pit, you may notice in the background there's actually 2 panels on either side of the big door, and you probably have to use a rope to pull down on them to open the door and trap the Rancor inside. These can be seen very vividly in the background, along with a skeleton. And it's finally awesome to see a Gamorrean god, aka Jubnook, as a playable character within this level. Now, something that you probably did miss within the trailer, you can actually see a stormtrooper's top in the background, and if you actually pick this up on the level, you can actually disguise yourself as a stormtrooper. And there's even a disguise icon below the stormtrooper's top. This is a wicked feature, you can just walk straight past the guards like nothing ever happened. And just to show the detail that TT Games put into these LEGO games, on the bit where there's an explosion on Hoth, you can actually see inside the Rebel Troopers' binoculars, they've actually animated it, which is a cool little detail. Moving on over to Tatooine, in the background you may notice there is actually a breakable wall. Now, in the classic LEGO games you get like a big fig just to punch it through, but in this new LEGO game you actually have to use one of the tools that you see later on in the trailer. And brace yourself, the tool is called the Breaker Blaster. Says what it does on the tin. But you can't just be going out there breaking everything in sight, because in the Skywalker Saga there is actually stealthy missions, which is awesome. And if you've got a very keen eye, you may have noticed the probe droids within LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, they actually scout areas, and these are used in stealth missions, and if they see you within the red area, they will alert more guards to their location, which is a neat feature. So you're going to have to use Sneak 100 unless you want to shoot them all down, it really is up to you. And to be fair, if you do want to get yourself some more studs in the game, it actually is kind of better to be loud, because when you fill up your combo meter, you actually get more studs. And alongside this, filling up your combo meter grants you more studs, and then you will fill up your true Jedi bar, and it's actually split into 3 sections within LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, and for each section that you complete, you actually get a Kyber brick. Which, if you didn't know already, you can use your Kyber bricks to upgrade your abilities within the game. Going back to the disguises that I mentioned earlier, some floating Sith Trooper pants. Red pants. I don't think I've ever seen anyone wear red pants. And if you look up top, there's actually a sniper. And moving on over to Bespin, we do see some more pants in the background. That honey wear my pants guy is gonna go crazy, there's so many pants. And for you who have a keen eye, because the player is actually using a light side character, the Bespin guards are actually helping the player defeat the stormtroopers. And look at old Ben Kenobi looking at his wonderful memories of the 212th Battalion, got them beautiful pictures in the background. Whilst we're on the topic of Obi-Wan Kenobi, when Obi-Wan is actually versing General Grievous on Utapau, if you look into the background you can actually see a scavenger wall, which you will have to use the net launcher to climb up later on in free play. And if you look to the right, you may notice the fan on the wall. I'm a big fan of that feature. Sorry I had to do that one, but the fan actually will be used as a trap within the boss fights. They did mention this ages ago at E3, how you can use stuff in boss fights to activate traps to defeat the boss. So you might be able to activate this fan to blow General Grievous over. We'll just have to wait and see. Now on Kamino, you may notice in the background there is an Iowa. Is that how you pronounce them? You can see it flying in the background. And it's also pretty cool that you can throw enemies below you in a battle. Now in the game we do know companion characters are confirmed, and on the bit where Luke is on Dagobah with Master Yoda, you can actually see a lizard in the background, and it does seem to actually follow the player, so this could be a companion character. And in the top left corner you can actually see a zipline on Dagobah. Interesting. Now it seems some of these big capital ships need to hire some janitors because there is a load of water over the floor and you might be able to trip over this water, or the enemies might be able to trip over it. We don't know yet. Hey, look, bouncing studs. And one of my favourite bits from the trailer is the dancing bantha. You can actually influence the bantha to ride it, or you can use it to distract enemies like they do in the trailer. Or you can make it flee and run away like a bantha. But if you actually make the bantha dance, you can actually use it to distract the stormtroopers and sneak right past them. And going back to the probe droids I mentioned earlier, we actually get our first look at an open world stealthy mission. You can see all the probe droids with the lights in the background alongside the big lights that you have to avoid on Hoth. And just as an added bonus, you can see there's a collapsible bridge, so you probably have to access this interior and get across somehow. Next up, you may notice just before Poe opens his galaxy map, there is actually a quest in the top right. And just as an added little detail, you can see a water splashing particle. I know, exciting, but it's nice. And on this next bit, if you actually look up, that is one of the zip lines we saw on one of the gameplay trailers. And for a very split second in the gameplay overview, we actually do get to have a look at the HUD interface alongside all the other districts on Coruscant. And I bet you didn't know this, Boss Nass is one hell of a pilot. And it also does alert you when a new mission is unlocked. And it seems throughout the trailer we do see lots of wildlife, so it does seem that wildlife is confirmed. And something you probably all did notice is how they're spicing up the level design in this new LEGO Star Wars game, such as the Naboo battle. We've never seen anything like this before. And speaking about level design, in the bit where they're discussing how there's multiple ways to approach levels, in the corner on the Tantive you can actually see a vent you can go through. And jumping on over to Coruscant, one of my favourite Jedi's, Qui-Gon Jinn, you can actually see a vehicle selection station. Now I know these are insane details, but in the background on one of the ships you can actually see a vending machine. Pretty insane. Yeah. And when it is showing Poe Dameron do the sneaky approach to the level, you can actually see sirens in the middle, so if you do start attacking the troopers, it will alert more enemies to your location. Now, jumping back over to Coruscant, you can actually see Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan board a Coruscant speeder, and this actually allows them to travel to the other district. So instead of leaving the planet to then head to another district, you can probably just fast travel on the planet to the other district. And when we see Qui-Gon in the Senate building, you can actually see a secret passage. And when we see Jango Fett running through Coruscant, you can see the bar they go in Episode 2. Hopefully you can access the interior in the open world. You know, because we want to buy some death sticks. And to start wrapping up the last lot of insane details, yes, Cantina Brawl fights are back. Then there's the upgrade system, which is pretty insane. And on Jabba's sail barge, you can actually see a box full of detonites, and if you actually pick this up using the Force and throw it at someone, it will probably explode. And another insane detail, characters are actually broken down into distinct classes, and the colour behind their icon determines what class they are in. And we see an example of this. Captain Phasma is not being shot at by the stormtroopers because she is a dark side character. And for our final few, you may notice there's a mini kit. And each level will have a total of 5 mini kits. In the section where Jabba is running on Naboo, you can actually see Feed Palace is actually accessible through the door in the background. And to finish off with, there is a brand new spawning animation in LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga where their head falls from the sky and lands on their body, kind of like the minifigure is getting built. We see this very briefly at the end. And phew, that is everything. They are all 50 insane details within the brand new gameplay overview. And don't worry about the extras and mumble mode, I'll probably have an entire video on that at a later date. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I also want to thank Ropon, who is a member in my Discord, for helping me out with this. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you did go to enjoy, please go to drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in a bit.